Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream program for today.
Hi.
I'm Angie, and here with me I have my colleague from engineering, Dino. Will be your host for today's program, and I give it a couple of minutes for everybody to join. I want to say hi to the people in the audience already, and hi, Didem. Hello, Ari Negro, Mirko, Gabriel. Hey everybody, where are you watching from? Please comment down below where are you tuning in from. And we have a question from Grant. Grant, if you are watching, the live stream will also be available to watch after. Nice to meet everybody. Okay, so while we wait, give them a couple of minutes. Oh, we have Didem from Turkey here. I want to ask everybody, how's your day been? And are you eating anything or drinking anything while you're watching? And also, Dino, how has your day been so far, Dino? Are you drinking anything?
Great. Preparing a bit for the live stream. It's always fun with the AI, so let's see how it goes. And I'm drinking some tea.
Nice. I have some water. I'm here at the Hygraph office and I'm based in Berlin, and I have some water here. Hello from Brazil, and we have Toronto, Canada, and also Mirko is from Serbia. Hello, Montevideo too. Oh, cool. My third cup of coffee. That's gonna help with the vibe coding session, maybe. Okay, I want to get started with a proper introduction for everybody that just joined. Hi again, I'm Angie. I'm a field marketing manager at Hygraph. Here with me today, I have the main host for the program, the star of the show, my colleague Dino. I want to quickly introduce you, Dino. For those of you who don't know Dino, he's our staff engineer currently working on AI features and our core infrastructure. And if you want to connect with him, I'll put his LinkedIn profile here in the chat, just in case you want to connect with him and chat. And if you also want to chat with us, you can find us in Slack. You can connect with us and we can answer your questions and help you with any Hygraph projects or any of your setup and other questions. Okay, today we have a different session for you. We have an exciting vibe coding session. It's still part of the Hygraph AI Lab series. And I think it's time for us to get started and get into it. Dino, the stage is yours, so feel free to get started and share your screen.
Yeah, let me start by sharing my screen and then we'll do some introductions to it. All right.
Yeah.
Second. All right. Let me share the screen, and we're experimenting a bit. So I'm gonna try to do this thing so you can see me and also can see my screen. So hi, I'm Dino. I am a staff engineer at Hygraph. I'm currently working on productionizing our AI features in a way that stable and secure works, right? And in this Inside the Machine Room series, we're trying to share a bunch of things we encounter along the way, right? While using AI, developing with AI, and also developing AI features. So let's start things off a bit. If you want to know more about Hygraph or reach out to me, talk to me, just go to hygraph.ai. We have a landing page here with all of the AI stuff, but I'm not gonna do too much of this promotion stuff. This is all about some live coding, live vibe coding more specifically. So let's take a look what we'll be doing today. I hope everybody can see my screen well, and sometimes I'll switch over to a different view so we can see more and the font is bigger, but for now, let's start like this. So today we're gonna look at vibe coding. And what we're gonna do is I've prepared a small app and I wanted to have a code base that's somewhat realistic. And we're gonna do this vibe coding in a way where we will talk about a bit about what vibe coding is, but also how you can use it as a real engineer at a company, not just for Hello World apps, but essentially how it can help you as an engineer working on complex tasks on a real code base, right? If you have questions, always feel free to shoot. Just put them in the comments and Angie will help and show them and I'll just answer. Short disclaimer, right? This is live coding and essentially it's live vibe coding. So let's see where we end up, right? We're gonna encounter issues and I'm gonna kind of try to show you what you can do to have less issues while vibe coding, have more certainty, more security, and kind of some strategies on how to do it in a productive way, right? But that being said, this is still non-deterministic, right? So maybe we'll have bad luck, maybe the servers will be down, anything could happen. let's see where we end up. The goal is to improve this app here. And this app that you can see is something that I coded the last few days. It's a snippet manager. Like I want to kind of memorize some code, bits and pieces, and maybe I want to learn them, maybe I want to memorize them. And what it can do is you can just, right now, that's the base app. We're going to extend. What it can do right now is you can, I don't know, create different snippets. And then with Markdown, with syntax highlighting, you can write something like a little blog post. You can add comments. Hey, I don't know, Dino, hey, this is neat. And then, oh, well, doesn't look too cool, but front end is not my strength. You can add these things and then you can kind of look at them, try to remember. And it's like a notebook for developers. And I don't know, you can search for it. Oops. Search for it. Not perfect a search, but yeah, that's like the basic thing. And you can create new snippets with a Markdown editor. So it has a bunch of functionality, right? I wanted to have something a bit more than a to-do app or a little bit more than a Hello World app. Obviously, I cannot show a production code base in this live stream right now, but I think this can get a bit close to it. And the goal for today, at least what we're trying to achieve, is I want to have a repetitive learning feature in here, right? I want to have something like when you learn, I don't know, languages in school, you have like this vocabulary set, and then I don't know, every day you learn vocabulary, and then once you've correctly learned it, you learn it after 2 days, and when you make a mistake, you will learn it again sooner, and then you space it out so that you manage to kind of save this information in your long-term memory, right? And that's what we will try to do. And we will start with a very naive, simplistic prompt and vibe coding. And I will try to not code at all, right? In production in the real world, right? I still use my hands to program like I used to for over a decade now, right? But here we're going to try to do everything with vibe coding and see how far we get and what issues we encounter along the way. We'll get pretty far even with a stupid naive prompt. But first, let's take a look at what vibe coding is. So let's just Google for vibe coding. So vibe coding is a software development approach where AI tools are used to generate code from natural language prompts, shifting the focus from writing code to guiding the AI to produce and refine it. And we can kind of separate this further. We can say there's vibe coding and there's agentic coding. What we'll be doing is vibe coding. So we will use Cursor. Cursor AI, I think the site's called Cursor AI code editor. We'll use Cursor to vibe code, meaning we'll have a chat and we have an editor. But there are also more agentic things that fully autonomously work. Cursor has background agents, but there's also Claude Code. So Claude Code and a bunch of other tools, right? Claude Code. Well, that's probably vibe coded, right? Or agentic coded. Claude Code. Yeah, right. Where you have like a fully autonomous AI just working on your terminal and then just coding stuff, right? Me personally, I prefer Cursor because I like to be more in the loop with the changes, but obviously you can do that with Claude Code. There's also GitHub Copilot, Klein, Windsurf, a bunch of other stuff, right? But we're going to use Cursor just because that's the one I'm using. Many of the things we say will be applicable. Claude Code crashed, exactly, Dino. Okay, so let's go back to our project and take a look. Okay, so the thing we want to achieve is that we want to have a possibility to learn these snippets and new snippets we create in a like day-to-day fashion with an algorithm that spaces them out whenever we remembered something correctly. We will see it a bit later again in a few days, and when we made a mistake, it's gonna pop up sooner again, so we can commit it to our memory. I realized in my stream that at the bottom right there's like a weird shadow. I'm not sure. if you can see that, this thing. Maybe Angie, if it's something in the streaming, you can remove it, but don't be distracted by it. Okay, cool. Let's continue now. We have a code base, and we're starting with a code base, and we're not going to go through it line by line, right? We're by vibe coding here, so we're going to kind of take a more high-level approach. We're still going to review our code, and we're going to talk about what's important when you wipe code to not end up with trash, essentially, right? So what we have here is typical kind of TypeScript app, and it's split between a front end and a back end. We have a server, and we have a client, right? So the client is just a React application. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but and this React application has CSS and uses a bit of a few libraries for Markdown, for the editor and stuff. And the server is just a GraphQL server using Apollo, and it uses SQLite as a database, which is a SQL database. So if we just scroll through it a bit, we'll see just a typical select ID from and some CRUD operations, create snippets and read snippets and stuff like this. We'll see more as we develop, right? But now I'm going to switch the view onto the editor a bit more so we can see a bit better. And let's give this thing a first try. So what we want to do is we'll start with a very simplistic prompt. And this is Cursor, right? Cursor is like VS Code. Essentially, it's VS Code. It's a fork of VS Code or Codium or whatever it's called. And what we will do is we will just very naively ask it to implement the spaced repetition learning system, right? And let's see where we end up. We'll use Claude 4 Sonnet, and we'll get pretty far probably, but I assume we'll not end up with something that I'm happy with. And it will take a bit. So let's start. Please implement a spaced repetition learning system. So I'm not going to give it too much more context, right? I'm just going to close this. Let's see what this baseline stupid prompt gives us. So wait a bit, and we see it starts generating. It starts to think. So already here we see a difference to how AIs worked a couple of months ago. While it works, I'm going to explain a few things. So a while ago, prompt engineering was something that was very hot and important, right? How you phrase your prompt. But now many AIs have a thinking step. And that thinking step, I don't know if I can still kind of show it, right? This thinking step kind of first goes through my prompt and tries to understand what I'm doing here. So the AI tries to understand what I'm doing. And when you first write a prompt, does Cursor know about the whole project? Yeah, let's do a short intro here. So we can go to, let me see, Cursor settings. And in Cursor, there's indexing. And Cursor is constantly looking at your code base and building an index out of it. So it knows about the files and can do searches on the files and has a rough, essentially an index on it, so it can run searches. We've seen that it ran a few searches here. For example, search what data models and schema are currently implemented in the database, or what React components are currently implemented. So Cursor does know about your code base. And initially, if you have a very big code base, this can take a while, right? We have only 50 files here, which is not too much, but it can take a while. And it's way better when it's indexed. Sometimes it will tell you still indexing, right? And then it's good to wait a bit so that you can get good answers. All right. So that's it about the code base knowledge of Cursor. But it tries to build up more knowledge inside of a single conversation here. So what we did initially, we put a very simple prompt. And a while ago, prompt engineering, how you write prompts was super important, or at least it was kind of people said it was super important. You would say it's important that you say something like, I don't know, you're a senior software engineer at Google or whatever, and then the AI would perform better. Nowadays, still there's some importance to this prompt stuff, but AIs kind of think now. What does think mean? They create a strategy. They go to your prompt and try to outline what it means and try. Essentially, they're thinking about how to solve this problem. So here it says the user wants me to implement a spaced repetition learning system. Let me first understand what this project is about and what's already there. So it's kind of trying to improve its own prompt, so to speak. It understands the project. It sees there's a client, a server. It sees there are multiple files, and then it understands the context of my request with this code base, and then it gives itself some tasks. Right now, recently I saw an update to Cursor, and it builds like to-do lists. Right, you see it actually we created a strategy here, what it needs to do, and it's executing on the strategy. So from a little very naive prompt, please implement a spaced repetition learning system. With some thinking, it came to extend the database schema with learning tables. I have reactions here. Add GraphQL types and operations. Implement a spaced repetition algorithm in the backend. Create GraphQL resolvers so that our API backend can serve the front end. Build learning session UI components. Create a progress dashboard, and then it should integrate the learning features into the app navigation. So this is already a pretty great update because it touches on a few things I'm going to show you as well, right? A while before, it would just start executing on what you asked it to do, and this becomes very, that's quite a lot for a single prompt. So now it actually drafts a strategy on what it's trying to execute. And I think we're already done, right? So it extended our database. We see there's new table learning cards. It extended our schema, on GraphQL schema. It implemented an algorithm for spaced repetition learning, right? I'm not going to go through the exact details here. Let's just trust it and see what came out of it, and then we can go into details. So it implemented a spaced repetition learning algorithm. It implemented GraphQL resolvers, not just the GraphQL schema. And then what it ended up with is it's built some types, some queries. Now we've reached a limit with Cursor. Initially, it can only do like 25 tool calls, and each file edit, each search is a tool call. So we can just tell it to continue. And wait a bit. Are these prompts that are making the agent go into strategy and thinking, rethinking part of Cursor or part of the LLM model? So I do think that I've used Claude Sonnet 4 before with Cursor, and it did not have this strategy thing with the to-dos. So I do think this is a integration with AI. And I do think Claude Code had something like this before already. So you see, it's not just important which model you use. We are going to go into that soon. Let me move this. It's not just important which model you use, which you can select here, right? There are O3 and Gemini and stuff, but also the integration of the development environment you're using, like Claude Code or Cursor, is also important, and how they interact with the LLM. So I think they made a great decision by incorporating some strategy and learning here. Probably they have this in their system prompt. Please create a to-do list of the strategy when it's a big task or something. And then they build something into their IDE, their VS Code fork, to actually show what's happening here. I imagine this also allows them to manage chat context a bit better, because they could just give the context of what is needed for each step, right? I don't know. This is quite new to me. I think a few days ago it wasn't there, or I didn't see it before at least. So, and I also don't see it when using the O3 model from OpenAI. So I think this is a great change, and it allows it to do more structured work and more complex work, right? We see like this thing is really churning out code, and we'll talk about what's good about that and what's bad about that as well in a second. But let's see where we end up, and if the feature already works, and what's missing, right? So yeah, UI and CSS obviously take a while. But Claude Code is Claude for Sonnet is pretty fast already. With O3, this would take like four times as long, but it has some positives as well if you use O3, but I'm going to get into this in a second. So we see things are happening. I have my server running, so it's actually updating on the side. Let's see, but I'm not going to switch over to the app until this is done. And I sure hope that I don't run out of requests, but let's see how that works. Oh, sorry for the slurping. Okay, so now it's integrating it into the app navigation. I think we're getting to the last step, and then we should see the learning features. So it's adding it to the main page. It's adding routing. We have React Router, I think. It's adding it to the layout with a link. Okay, and it's adding it to the detail pages of the snippets we have, like we saw this Python snippet. When you click on it, this is the detail page. So it's giving some more, like, are we learning this currently information. It's correcting some issues it had. Right, this conversation is going on for a while already, so it's likely that we'll get into more issues. Right, we see the string to replace was not found in the file, but it says it's done. Let's see. So let's see. It's gonna try to fix any issues it encountered, but this has been going on for a while. So might be that we reached the limit of what it can do. Okay, it caught itself, I guess. Nice. Okay. That's great. Perfect. Okay, so it says it's done. Let's see if that's the case. How are we with time? Oh, okay, gotta speed up a bit. So we have a new thing called study. Cool. I mean, that's already pretty great, right? We have a bunch like of cards that we want to learn. We can add more snippets to our learning thing. Start by adding some snippets. Let's click. Okay. I want to learn about the, I don't know, React hooks. Add to learning. Okay, that worked. That's pretty nice. Let's see. But does it update? I refresh. Okay, I have to refresh. That's already not great. And I don't quite understand how I can actually learn from that. So let's see, snippets. Okay, study. I don't know. Where should I learn? So that's already pretty. No cards for review. Great job staying on top of your studies. Okay, so it didn't create test data that I can see right now. Manage learning cards. Okay. Use snippet. Okay. Learning. Add to learning. Okay. Okay, it's kind of it's not 100% working, right? But that was already a good start. But let's see how we can make it better, right? And I'm not sure if we're going to reach the end here, but let's see how we can improve upon this. So first thing, we did a bunch of stuff, and it's like working 80%. So if you're not just vibe coding for fun or something, you actually always want to have some control over what you're going to do in the future. So I do think it's important to use Git a lot, right? Me personally, I prefer using the Git client of JetBrains products, but having a good grasp of Git on the command line is great, or using whatever client you prefer. I'm just going to roll back all of these changes now. It did a lot of changes, and this is great. You can review it from here. But I'm not interested in it because it didn't do what I wanted to do. So let's remove all of this. I don't know, roll back. Okay, roll back. And then let's also remove all of this stuff. Delete. Okay, cool. So we should be back to our initial app again. Cool. So, okay, this is our app. That's great. And let's see. Okay, we're back to our usual state. So how can we improve upon this? So there are a couple of things that we can do. You see that it created like a to-do, but this feature is too big. So let's replace the chat, doesn't matter. So what we can do is, do we want to, like, we can think about it like any old project that you would do in your company as well, right? Just saying, give me a space repetition system isn't a good feature request, right? So what we can do instead is we can flesh this out. We could use Claude Sonnet, or we could use another model, right? So if you go here, you can see like what these things are useful for. And here, for example, O3 complex problems, difficult bugs, deep reasoning, slow. O3 is slow, but I find personally, I also use it in ChatGPT for my deep research mostly. I find it to be great in strategic thinking. So let's start by building a project plan, right? I want to build a spaced repetition system into this app, or rather, maybe let's start by doing something else. We don't even have documentation, right? So it would be great to already have some documentation. Write a readme.md about the app. This is a code snippet manager, and I want to have some docs and architecture in Markdown. So we have some context and also can start understanding this. This is also useful if you're using it in your production environments. You may be opening a new repository you haven't touched in a while. You can use AI really to help you with documentation and also keep updating documentation, right? This is a constant struggle. Just having documentation that's up to date, it's already pretty hard, and AI makes it a lot easier, right? Let me move to this view again. So we see it's kind of writing a README for us, and obviously we should check, but I'm also looking at my time here, so we'll just trust it for now. But this looks correct. This looks pretty correct to me. It should be done in a second. And also gives us a database schema, how to run it and everything. So I've made some good experiences with using it for docs. If you have a very complex code base, obviously it can misunderstand it. But that's why you're here, right? you're still needed as an engineer. So apply your knowledge to kind of make the README useful and correct. So can I see the preview? I'm going to use JetBrains. I'm just used more to JetBrains products. Oops, where's my project? Okay, so we see the preview. Okay, so this is a code snippet manager. It has functionality, technical features, architecture, which looks correct. It says a React frontend, a server, SQLite database, and you can run it with these commands. Actually, you can already run it with the click here. Okay, that's pretty good. So now we have some documentation, and let's go on from there. I don't know why my why my project is done here, but okay, here it is. I guess that's fine. So now that we have some docs, let's say I want, and we can include these docs so it has a baseline understanding of the app and doesn't have to kind of figure it out by itself. And we'll use O3 for strategic thinking. Sonnet is also great, and if you have access to Claude for Opus, probably it's also better, but O3 really spends a lot of time thinking about strategy, and that's awesome. I want to build a spaced repetition system into this code snippet app. And then we want to build a plan, but also maybe we're not thinking about everything, and maybe we want to have more input about what's going to happen. So create a to-do markdown file with a project plan for this. And now what I found very useful is ask me questions on details and features. and let's go from there. So let's see what happens here. There are two important things. A, we're creating a to-do list or a project plan. And the other thing is I'm telling it to ask me questions. I think this is super useful because with this to-do list, you can give the context for the full project in a file, but then you can have single conversations and do single work on smaller tasks. So it's exactly the same as for you when you break down a project into human-sized tasks, right? Things you can do in a day or whatever. The same applies to the AI. And this is great to know, but yeah, obviously it's going to take a while. Let's see. So it's currently writing the spaced repetition to do. And it's nice to have this as a markdown, but in a second, I'm also going to show you that we can do better than just a markdown. O3 is, I don't know, 4 times as slow as Claude Sonnet. So that can take a while. I usually use it alongside meetings, right? When you have meetings, you can already plan your work a bit like this, right? And then review when you're done. So let's see what came up here. So let's take a look here. Okay, so we have a plan here. Algorithm choice, upgrade database schema, migrate existing data, extend GraphQL schema, implement the service for the algorithm, create a review queue, notifications, email notifications, analytics dashboard, unit tests, which is also great. We'll talk about this, and update documentation, and then a technical breakdown. Okay, this is already better, and there are a bunch of questions, so we can kind of get back to the AI in a bit. I see there's a question. Oops, let me move a bit. Choosing between models like Claude or 3, how do you decide which one is best suited for your task? Yeah, that's a good question. For me personally, right now, obviously this changes every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever models come out. But for me personally, I always start high level with O3 because I find it to be very good in strategic thinking. And for actual implementation of detailed tickets, I usually use Claude Sonnet. But O3 is also great if you have the time and patience, because O3 does fewer changes, I find. Claude Sonnet produces a lot of code, which is great if you're trying to move fast, but in a production environment, usually code is a liability, right? You want to solve your problem and create your feature with as little code as possible, because the more code you have, the more potential bugs you have, the more maintenance you have to do, the more redundant code you'll have, the more, I don't know, the bigger it's going to be if you're on the front end, maybe the client bundle, stuff like this, right? So ideally, you want to have as little code that's readable and maintainable as possible, while having a solution. And I find O3 to be better in this, but Claude Sonnet is just really, really good at producing tons of code. So if you just want to churn a feature out, then Claude Sonnet is your go-to. And I think in some algorithm benchmarks and stuff, Claude Sonnet is better. But when you want to do like surgical changes to your code base, O3 is also great at kind of finding the exact places. And obviously, it's always better to give as much context as possible about locations where to look for. And that goes for all models, right? As if you manage to reduce the problem space as much as possible, tell it which files to look for and which files to change, the outcomes are going to be better instead of doing free-form exploration. Okay, I hope that answered the question for now. Let's continue a bit. So it asked us a few questions, right? It created a project plan, but there are still a few outstanding questions. Let's see. Maybe I'll go into the smaller view again. Small. Okay. So which algorithm should I take? SM2, I guess, is the standard spaced repetition learning algorithm. Which rating scale? Yeah, sure. 0 to 5 is good. Review carjacks. During a review, should the snippet be hidden until the user clicks show answer or shown immediately? It should be hidden. Daily limits. Should we cap the number of reviews per day or simply show every card that's due? No limit. Notifications, no notifications for now. Enrollment, I don't know. Would you like browser desktop? Sorry. Should every new snippet automatically enter the queue or should the user opt in automatically? Analytics, what stats matter most? Review streaks, retention percentage, language specific performance, streaks and retention. Also add a plan to add questions per snippet in the edit dialog so that we can answer questions for our reviews, not just try to remember the snippets. So this is just so you have something to answer, potentially multiple choice. So that it asks us, I don't know, for our snippets, what do we have here? A question about the hooks. And so we can kind of, I don't know, can you use a hook in an if statement or something like this? And then potentially it should have a field here. Oh, that looks a bit broken. Well, we'll see. So let's add something like this. And then we go into a back and forth. I'm going to use Sonnet for now, just to be a bit faster. It's not going to be as good for the plan, but let's go with this. So, okay, it's going to add this spaced repetition stuff, and then I'm going to show you. A little hack that makes this incorporate better into your daily production workflows at your workplace, right? So while it's doing this, I'm going to open something else. In the last session, we talked about MCP servers and MCP tools, right? So if you didn't take a look at the last session where we talked about AI agents and MCP and tool usage, but essentially what I want to say is you don't have to just work with markdown files and stuff, but you can actually work with your like Jira or Linear or whatever you use for your ticket management. You can also let the AI do this. So we did create like this thing, and oops, I don't know, MCP. If you open MCP settings, and I have a bunch of tools. We are using Linear at work. Linear is something like Jira, and let me just quickly open something up here. I can share it in a second. So we created a project plan, and yeah, it's having a bunch of trouble, but it should be fine in a second. Yada. Come on. I guess there was some, there's a bug in Cursor, probably. It's using a different tool now. Great. Perfect. Yeah, things break when you use Cursor from time to time. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It changed stuff. It's great. Okay, cool. So now we have our requirements, confirmed requirements, question types, review flow. Okay, that's great. So we have a project plan now and also a task list, but having that in Markdown is not really cool. So instead, what I want to do is move this project and tasks to Linear, create a project called Livestream, organize AI work, and add all the tasks here as issues to it. Put the project into the AI Labs team. All right, so let's see if it figures it out. See if something is in the chat. List teams, okay, so it's getting which teams we have. It gets the AI Labs team that we have in our ticketing system, and I will show you in a second when it's done. There's an AI Labs list team, okay, and now it's creating the project. Create the project. How much time do we have? Okay, that's gonna cut it close. We're creating an issue. Creating an issue. And this, on the side, I'm gonna open this up so you can see what's happening. AI Labs. AI Labs. Right, so it's running the tools. And what we can see here is, oops. Did we have like this? We have like a project now. We have like a project now in Linear, like it would be with Jira or something, and we have all of the tasks in this project, like you would as a developer yourself, right? And you can now work with AI and also like create branches and stuff like this and structure your work this way. So let's finish this real quick. And there it has all the context it needs. Run tool, run tool, run tool. So now what we talked about is how to break down work, how to get a better project plan, how to actually get requirements so that you can actually execute on a good project. Okay, and it's done now. So we can go back and we see we have all of these tasks here. Cool. So what's the first task? Design question system, multiple choice. Okay, implement scheduling service. So let's see. We don't have a lot of time left. So we see that this project is going to take longer to implement than this live stream. So the next thing I want to kind of show you is how you can get some more help while developing these things. So let's see, we have a project and we want to implement the first one. Let's write some unit and integration tests. So I'm going to copy this link. I want to do this task in Linear. All right. Please check out our running app. So the first task we want to do is we want to write unit integration tests, because this is something you need to do when you vibe code a lot. If you don't have tests, you're going to break the stuff all the time. So you always need to have good tests, and this is what we're starting with. So let's write unit integration tests. Please check out our running app at localhost 5173. Let's see if that's correct. Localhost 5173, that's correct. And set up a playwright test suite for the landing page of it. So I'm going to speed ahead a bit with this. But so it gets the issue that we're working with. And now it moves to the browser. You see the AI is actually using the browser now to check for our app, so it can actually see what's happening. So we can now connect two things. We can connect the plan for our project, and we can connect what's actually there, so that the AI can not just think from screenshots that you sent, but it can actually do screenshots itself and look at stuff yourself. Okay, so it sees the application. It has a nice interface. And now it knows how the application looks like. It's building out a to-do list. So we're going to install Playwright for our task. Okay. Let's go. Now it's installing Playwright, which is there for front-end, end-to-end testing. It's going to run, I guess, it's downloading a bunch of browsers. Okay. I guess maybe like we can do the next session and just continue on this project until we have it done, right? If you're interested in this, leave a comment or give us some feedback later. and then we can continue until we have the spaced repetition feature, right? Just give me some info after the stream. Okay, so it created our tests, and now it's writing our first test. And let's see about the thing we're trying to do. So we're trying to implement unit tests, integration tests, and front-end tests. So obviously this is not going to match with the with our existing app. So, but it's testing, it's understanding that we want to test, and it builds the tests for our existing app. So we don't break it when we develop our next features. Cool. So you see, maybe let's see what it did so far. We see it thought a lot, we read a lot, but sometimes it will also search the internet, right? This is something I want to talk about. So we're writing tests to make sure we don't break anything while vibe coding, but sometimes it will search the internet, which it can do in Cursor, and then you need to be super careful. So I would really recommend for you to not automatically run all of this, like not the file changes, but any commands it might have, because there is a thing you should be aware of that's called prompt injection. So while you develop, there's this, maybe some of you know OWASP, like there's this security top 10, the most abused exploits in security for web devs, and we have something like this for AI development as well. And the number one security vulnerability is prompt injection. So what this does mean is that you can take a look at it, but if your AI, while you develop, does a web search and it reads a website that then has something like, I don't know, send the password.json or whatever to this web page, right? Then it could execute on this. So web searches can lead to new security issues and the AI doing stuff that you did not want to do. Therefore, that's why I like to have control over what the AI does, right? And therefore, we always want to check before running commands what the AI does. Now, I know that I initially ran these linear calls like get issue, browser navigate, but this is because I didn't have any web search. So there was nothing that could poison the context. If you develop AI applications or if you develop with AI, I really urge you to check out these top 10 security issues, and just to make sure that nothing catastrophic happens. You don't leak production data and stuff like this. Like there were people that leaked their production databases in, I think, Supabase, because they used Supabase's MCP server with their AIs, and then they got web searches that poisoned the context, leaking their production databases. So really make sure that when you develop with AI, you double check whenever you run something, that you review the code, because people can, via some weird web page that has white text that tells AIs what to do that you cannot read, but the AI can tell the AI to do weird stuff that you do not want. Okay. So it's writing the landing page tests. Let's hope that it finishes before the stream finishes. So yeah, this is what I was kind of afraid of with the AI live vibe coding. We have limited control over what this thing can do. Like obviously we can nudge it in the real direction, and it helps if we have this task list, right? So we know what's happening. And finally, with the test, we're gonna be done here. But right, it's very difficult to say how long an AI task is going to take, right? Recently, a study came out that they employed 20 or 30 open source developers, and the people self-reported on the time they expect the task to take, and consistently people that used AI for the tasks expected it to take 20% less, and in fact, it took 20% more of their time to work to solve the tasks with AI. So when you work with AI, just be aware that it's not a magic bullet. It can save you time, and it can also cover a lot of ground. But if you don't do it in a structured manner, like we see here now, and with this task breakdown and stuff, it can actually cost you a lot of time because you get into debugging loops, error loops, forgotten stuff. If you don't have tests, we don't need the GitHub workflows. If you don't have tests and stuff, you can really waste a lot of time because of AI as well. So make sure that you always have this good structure, that you create a project plan like this, right? A real project plan with requirements like you would do with a developer, that you have tests, that you give the AI possibilities to interact with the app on your behalf, like we saw with this playwright, where the AI could control the browser and figure out for itself what went wrong. And then also make sure to write these tests. Let's see, we're going to run the tests. And did something happen? Okay. We have 300 tests, I guess. That's great. So let's run those tests and kind of end up there. So people can also ask a few questions. So npm run dev, npm run dev. So this is like the first task in our project that we now developed. And we want to cd code live vibe coding. Okay. Code live vibe coding. So now we have, I don't know, package JSON. We have a testing step. So what we're going to do is test UI. npm run test. And I think what we're calling is test UI. Okay, so it's actually running our UI tests now. Come on, do it. Okay, so we see now the AI has written its own tests, and this is the first step. So now we can continue vibe coding. Okay, so I guess this is it for now, right? We have a bunch of test cases that are currently running and being executed. And if you are interested in another session where we actually continue working on this feature, or maybe a smaller feature, give us a shout, leave some comments, ask questions now if you have them. And you can also reach out to me via LinkedIn, via YouTube comments, I guess. You can go to the hygraph.ai page. And yeah, or could join our community Slack. That's right. Yeah, this was a short introduction into like more advanced vibe coding, how you can actually work with big projects, with existing code bases in a way that doesn't break all of your stuff all the time. And I think my internet is going. Oh no.
I think we can still hear you.
Okay. Am I there still? Okay, that's cool. Okay. Okay, I stopped.
Yeah,
I'll
we
stop
can
the
still
stuff.
hear
Yeah.
you.
Great. Okay, yeah. And check out hygraph.ai. We're going to release a bunch of AI features soon. So yeah.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
My computer's dying.
Check out their event page
All right.
as well for any other events. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.